Hi, I'm Libra. Welcome to your August 2020 Astrology 33 general reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, just check out the description of the video for more details there. And as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic cross spread as always, and I also put a couple of oracle cards to you guys and a Mudra card. So we'll get started with the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Eight of Cups. So this is actually Pisces energy here, which for you guys is your sixth house of work, daily routine, health even. So with this popping up here, this could be you guys might have made a decision to leave a job behind. Maybe it was one that you had a certain attachment to. Maybe, for example, you've been there for, just a generic example, say you've been there 8 years. So you've built some friendships over those years, and maybe you actually enjoy those, but you're like, yeah, but as far as my overall goals for my career, I'm not really going to be able to get there at this job, so you might decide to move on from it. And that would make sense as far as you guys had Mercury retrograde in Cancer, which is your 10th house of career and social status, so you might have been doing some reevaluating during that time. And at the time I'm recording this, we're about to have a second new moon in Cancer. And then, eventually Mercury will clear its shadow, will be out of its shadow by the time we get into August. So it could be one of those things where you might have been thinking it over, maybe trying to figure out the finances around it too, since we had that Venus retrograde recently, and just deciding that, yeah, maybe it's best for you to move forward from a situation. Now, for the majority of you, I do think it's related to work, but of course this can be around a romantic relationship or friendship as well. We'll see if some of that kicks in as we go a little further in the reading. In the challenger obstacle position, we have the Queen of Swords. So this is actually the court card for your sign. So to me, this says that you've probably given this a lot of thought. You've been weighing the pros and cons, trying to do what was best for all parties involved, right? And really just weighing your options out. So I do feel like this is something you've given a lot of thought to. And like I said, with the retrogrades we had, it would make sense totally if you were reevaluating those areas. And for others of you, like I was mentioning, it could just be something where you're looking for something a bit more balanced, where, like I said, maybe emotionally you're connected with the job, you enjoy the job, but financially, for example, it might not get you as far as you'd like to go. So it could be one of those things where, I'm looking for something that has a little bit of both. That, yes, I can enjoy it on an emotional level, but I also feel that security on a more, physical plane as far as the money goes. In the foundation position, we have the Strength card. So this is actually in Leo energy, and of course we're going to have a lot of energy in Leo in August. The Sun will be there, Mercury as well. So could just be pointing to that. And for some of you, it could just be saying that you might have made your decision already, but you're trying to keep it under wraps for the time being. The reason I say that is because it looks like she's closing the lion's mouth there, right? So I feel like this is one of those things where you might have made your mind up, but you just might not be ready to announce it yet. So with that Eight of Cups energy there, it reminds me of the fact that we're going to have a full moon in Pisces early in September, and it'll actually be in those degrees. So it could just be one of those things where okay, you might have even secured another job, but maybe it doesn't start till September. So you're like, okay, I'm just going to wait a little bit. And then maybe put in your 2-week notice, right? So you time it a little bit better. So it could be one of those things where you might have made up your mind. You're just not really publicly expressing what that decision is just yet. And for others of you, it could be one of those things too where it gives you the courage to speak up around something too if you haven't. All right, in the past position, we have the Six of Wands, the Moon, Knight of Swords, Two of Cups, and Five of Cups. A lot of energy here. Let me see if I can get a story with this. You know what really comes to my mind initially? So this might be separate from this issue. Maybe it's related, but here's what I'm seeing with this. I feel like this is something where in the past you might have approached something with a lot of confidence, but maybe you just weren't seeing the situation clearly. You might have rushed into the situation. It could have been a romantic relationship since we do see the Two of Cups there, and then it led to disappointment. So it could even just be saying that this past experience is what's coloring your current experience now, to where, maybe in the past you feel like, oh, I did react, I did jump into something in a rash way, right? I wasn't seeing the situation clearly. I rushed in. thought I had the real deal, and then it turned out not to be, right? So maybe this is just saying that that's why you're being cautious now, because you're like, okay, lesson learned, right? And now you're trying to incorporate that lesson into your current move, where you're like trying not to just make a rash decision and leave something behind until you're really sure. So that could be why you've been in that energy of really just reconsidering things. Now, for some of you, this can point to a connection, and maybe this is you leaving that connection behind again, but maybe it's been one of those on again, off again scenarios where, okay, we got things on track, right? Then all of a sudden you think things are good, you start to move forward with each other, and then, okay, next thing you know, you're in that Five of Cups energy. Some of you, this could also be pointing to a connection you might have gotten into during the Mercury retrograde, since I see this energy often pointing to Mercury retrograde. Thought you were good to go, and then it ended up in the Five of Cups situation. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing, but that was a lot of cards, so hopefully that made sense. I barely remember what I said already. But present position, we have the Temperance card. So good energy to see here. This is actually Sagittarius energy. So for some of you, this could be communications around getting the situation balanced. Since for you guys, Sagittarius is your house of communication. And maybe if there was something that happened around the time of the Sagittarius full moon, also, this could just be saying that you're setting that situation to rights now. And again, if this is that career thing, like I was saying, I feel like it could be one of those things where maybe with that Eight of Cups, the current situation you're in, yes, there's some emotional fulfillment, but you feel like there's not that stability, that security that you're looking for. So with the Temperance card, it could be you trying to find a little bit of both, right? He has the one foot in the water there and 1 foot on the ground. So trying to balance those two. We're like, all right, I want the emotional fulfillment, but I also want the security, the stability, right? So that could be what you're trying to find right now. With this card showing up here, though, that is a good indicator that can happen for you. And also, Sagittarius being the natural ruler of the 9th house, we have Venus clearing its shadow as, pretty much right before August officially starts. So having Venus clear its shadow in your 9th house too could actually give you some insight on how to move forward in a way toward that situation. Near future position, we have the Hangman. So to me, this almost points to that energy that I mentioned a little earlier, where I feel like this is you, where you might have actually made up your mind, really, but you might just be holding off on announcing it to everyone. Now, for some of you, this can say maybe you haven't made up your mind and you really are, once again, just trying to look at things from a different angle and make sure, okay, is this the right thing to do? But for a lot of you, I feel like this is more you actually did make the decision, you're just not quite ready to announce it yet. All right. In the position of your influence on the situation, we see the Queen of Cups and the Two of Swords. Yeah, I mean, all right, to be fair, looking at these two cards, it is possible that some of you actually haven't made up your mind yet, especially this card in particular. So maybe you guys are getting there. You're getting closer, but you just haven't quite made the decision yet. And it could be, like I was saying before, I feel like there might be some ties to the situations. Like I said, if it's a job you've been with for years, of course, naturally, you probably develop friendships with those people, right? So you're like, okay, well, it's hard to leave them behind because this is Cancer energy here. So usually that's that sentimental flavor to things, right? And for you guys, especially since, your 10th house of career or social status is Cancer, then that could give you that emotional attachment to people that you work with, So it could be hard to leave things behind for that reason. So could be you just saying that, all right, you're trying to completely leave emotion out of the decision. You have your back turned on the water and the moon there to me, which says that you're trying to make a decision strictly based on logic and fact, right, as opposed to emotions. So that could be what's going on there. For some of you, if this is around a relationship, I feel like this is saying that you're closed off about your feelings and maybe not expressing them yet. And back to the career thing, this popped into my head as well. Could just be saying that you have two really good opportunities on deck and you're trying to decide which of those two opportunities would be best. So it could just be saying that for some of you, you've already checked out emotionally at the job you're currently at, but now it's just a matter of you deciding between two other options that were there for you. In the environment position, we have the 10 of Cups in reverse. So really what I feel like this is saying more than anything, I don't really see this as the breakup of a situation, whether it be a career thing or a romantic relationship. I feel like it's more the realization, like, maybe coming off of a emotional high, for example, and realizing that there's work to be done. Um, the reason I say that is that Eight of Cups energy might have been where you have been in a bit of a fantastical type mindset around the situation, right? Maybe only seeing the what you want to see in a situation. So really what that Ten of Cups in reverse is saying to me in that regard is maybe it's just saying that you're looking at things from a more realistic angle. And that could even be what the Temperance is pointing to there too. Where maybe you've just been trying to look at things from strictly an emotional standpoint, getting caught up in emotions, maybe passion, and now with that temperance card, you're actually looking at things in a more grounded way and saying, okay, yes, it can still turn into this Ten of Cups, right? But there's still work to be done. Like I said, whether that's your career, romantic relationships, you name it. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Six of Cups. So for most of you, I'm going to assume that this is a hope. And of course, usually we see this as a reconciliation thing. So for some of you, maybe there is someone from your past that you do want to go back to. I also refer to this card as the being the bigger person card too. If we just look at the artwork there, the size difference between the two of them, and then extending an olive branch. So if there was a situation that maybe you hadn't been seeing clearly and there could have been some conflict in the past, and maybe now you're looking at it from a different angle with that energy, especially Venus moving through the ninth as well, maybe that's actually what makes you want to reach out and fix a connection. So that could be what's at play there too. And in the outcome position, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So seeing this energy come up in the outcome makes me feel like you might start to second guess yourself as far as, you might feel like you've fallen behind due to whatever the situation is. So like I said, if it's a job where maybe you just got so comfortable with it and that familiarity kept you there longer than maybe you should have been. So now you're kind of looking back like, oh, I could have been so much further ahead if I realized this sooner, right? If I would have broken ties sooner, I would have been further ahead. Or again, like I said, if this is a situation, a romantic relationship where you've just been caught up in like a dreamy vibe around it, maybe this is realizing that okay, there's actually work that needs to be done to get this situation to where I want it to be, right? And like I said, I feel like you might just be doing a little bit of comparing to others around you and realizing and feeling like anyway, I should say, that you're behind when that might not be the case. That's what I'm seeing there. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Devil. So this is Capricorn energy, and obviously there's tons of energy in there. And for you guys, that is your fourth house of home and family. So this could also be around, maybe things that you learned early on in life. So maybe this was a job that, for example, let's say you're in a career path that your family always wanted you to get into, and on the one hand, you're like, yeah, that's great that I'm making my family proud, but maybe it's not fulfilling for you personally. So maybe that's why you're like, yeah, I kind of want to not be on this career path anymore. And maybe there's that disappointment there where like, oh, I don't want to disappoint my family, right? One of those types of things, but ultimately realizing you have to do what's best for you. And then, like I said, realizing, okay, well, I wasted all that time doing this thing that I didn't even want to do to begin with. Now I have to play catch up in my new path, right? But I feel like you shouldn't look at it that way. Especially with the Devil card, it usually points to karmic lessons that we needed to learn anyway. And usually once we do, if we do fully learn it and integrate it, we're good. We're not going to come back to it again. So there's that. But yeah, for some of you, this can just be also maybe you have to move for a career, for a new job opportunity. And maybe it would advance your career the way you hoped it would, but it would require you leaving where you currently live. And that could be a difficulty too, right? Where, okay, well, now I have to leave my friends behind. I have to do this, I have to do that. So that could be around what that's involved with as well. All right, moving on to the Oracle cards. First, we have Imagine. There's the artwork, and the number is 20. I do have to say, seeing that moon there made me think of the fact that we're going to have that full moon early on in August in Aquarius, which for you guys is your 5th house of romance, children, creativity as well. So imagine, that made me think that maybe you guys will get some type of creative idea that might let you have the best of both worlds, but we'll see what the card has to say. Okay, it says turning imagination into manifestation, creative thought, visualization, the power of aligning imagery and feelings, creativity, illusions. The Oracle's message: who do you want to be? What do you need to believe in order to have the life you want? You were gifted with the power to imagine. If you can dream it, you can create it. This is the time when your imagination is the key to manifesting the life you desire. Spend time daydreaming, fashioning a vision board to help you see your goals, or meditating. Allow the power of creativity to deliver images of what feeds your soul. Then allow your feelings to mingle with your inspirations and imagine these things being real right now. Then repeat. What you imagine will become your belief, and soon you will see these things come to pass in the outer world as if by magic. So definitely an interesting message there, and with all that creativity talk there, that could be what the Temperance card is there, also the Queen of Cups. As far as, if we think about emotions, yes, but maybe this is like a creative idea you might have, and maybe you've been considering releasing it, but for whatever reason you've been holding back. And maybe around that time of that full moon, you might actually get some courage to, I say courage because we have the Strength card in the foundation, you might actually get the courage to come out with that project. All right, the relationship message says, in matters of the heart, it's easy to daydream about another as a means of connecting to that person. While that's romantic, if you want this relationship to be real, you need to go for it, not just dream about it. Now is the time to move beyond the daydream and into reality, beyond illusion and into fruition. Relationships are about relating. So step out onto the dance floor where imagination partners with manifestation. The message of this card is that a person with attributes you have imagined will enter your life. You'll be changed for the better. Imagine that. So interesting message there, because that makes me think of that Strength card where I was saying for some of you, maybe you haven't spoken out about something, so maybe that could be what this is saying as well, with that 10 of Cups in reverse and then the 7 of Pentacles, where you get out of this daydreaming phase about the connection, right? And you actually realize, okay, I actually have to put in some work to make this happen. So that could be the realization you guys come to. If that's the case, it looks like there can be some forward movement there. Like I said, it doesn't look like it would be 10 of Cups right away, obviously, with the showing up in reverse, but it could just be saying that the potential's still there, but it's going to require some work, That Piscean energy, sometimes you could get caught in the fog and just live things out in your head more than actually, experiencing the reality of it. So hopefully that resonated with you guys there. Then the prosperity message says, this is a powerful time to get clear on how you create your prosperity, what it means to you to be prosperous, and what attributes you need to develop in yourself to make things happen. Who do you need to be to live out your dreams? Can you imagine the kind of life you desire? Really imagine it without holding back the sheer force of your powers of creativity? If you can envision it, you can have it. Get ready, for prosperity is waiting for you to claim it now. Act as if your dreams really will come true. So definitely a pretty interesting message there as well. Hopefully that resonated with you guys. And moving on to the next oracle card, we have Peacock Spirit, and it says, let it shine. There's the artwork, and the number is 46. So sounds like a similar message to what we just read with the prosperity. Maybe saying for you to step out a little bit, especially with that Strength card in the foundation. But let's see what it says. It says, when is the last time you shook a tail feather and shined your light for all to see? Within each of us is a peacock spirit yearning for expression, and you are called now to show the world the gorgeous creature you are, for you are a manifestation of spirit. Come out of the shadows, Peacock Spirit says, and show your true colors so that others may be inspired to express their own exquisiteness. Dance as if you remember that you are made of stardust and grace, filled with life force energy and sparkling light. You are a channel for divine love, and your dance is one of a kind. Catch the light and help it to shimmer, and dance in celebration of your good fortune of being right here, right now. Spirit wants you to be joyful so that others may get up and dance along with you. So definitely a pretty good message there as well. And like I said, I feel like that's that strength energy that we see there in the foundation, that boldness, that courageousness. And like I said, maybe with that full moon taking place in your fifth house, especially given that it's going to have a square aspect with Uranus, maybe that'll give you that sudden insight to finally step out and do something that maybe you've been holding back on for whatever reason for a while. All right. Moving on to the Mudra card for your sign. The Mudra you guys got for this month is the Svadhisthana Chakra Mudra, and the keyword for it is adaptability. Alright, there's a lot on this card, so I don't think I could fit it all in the frame at once, but what you could do is if you want, you could pause it or take a screenshot to see what's there, and then we'll get the rest of it in the frame here. Alright, but it says increases ability to adapt to change, opens creativity and the ability to spontaneously respond to any situation, increases capacity for intimacy with self, others, and the environment, benefits the reproductive system, increases fertility, tonifies the blood. So if that sounds like something you think would be beneficial for you guys, I will put the name of that Mudra in the description video as always. We'll wrap up there and I'll see you guys next month. Alright.